Hey listeners, before we get into today's show, I just want to say thank you for being a part of our community in the suite, especially this last year. In fact, I can't even thank you enough. This podcast makes employment opportunities, income, and real world experience possible for so many other creatives I'm lucky to work with. We're also so grateful for our 61 guests and counting who gave up time in their day to be with all of us. So with that, let me say happy holidays, happy new year, and thank you so much for being a friend in the suite.
Hi, this is Tina Powell, host of In the Suite, where I sit down with top women leaders and some of the biggest names in the financial services and the wealth management industry. Together, we'll discover some of their best secrets and top strategies to grow a great business, build a strong brand, and lead teams in the 21st century. I hope you'll enjoy hearing their amazing personal stories of triumph, trepidation, and transformation in hopes of becoming better leaders ourselves. The time for you to lead is now, and you're in the suite.
Meet Torie Happe, Head of Business Development at Onramp Invest, a crypto asset integration platform solution for financial advisors started in August of 2021. Torie is also co-host of Taco Tech with Johnny Sanguist, a podcast where two friends talk about FinTech trends in wealth management industry and tacos. In today's episode, we explore Torie's decision to take a seat on a rocket ship over a year and a half ago to join Onramp Invest, where she gives us her insight into the Onramp Invest galaxy with co-founder Eric Irving and the firm's CEO, Tyrone Ross. She also leans into her love of cryptocurrency and her company's Onramp Academy's motto, EAT, which stands for Education Application Tools, managed by the head of community, Caitlin Cook, aka Dead Kate Bounce on Twitter. Leadership, particularly servant leadership, is a major theme here in the suite, and Torie hits upon many important cultural elements of new firms in the fintech space, many of them now remote, from the perspective of a millennial who spent over a decade in industry working for other notable fintech firms like FixFlyer and Riskalyze. We also talk about the need for today's financial advisor to reach younger audiences by connecting and communicating on social media using Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, as well as Torie's love of portraying real life using black and white photography mixed in with her own originality and sense of style. You can follow her on Twitter at Torie Happe, TorieHappe, and you'll see what I mean. In fact, one of the many gifts that you'll discover about Torie Happe in this episode is her sense of adventure. From joining Onramp to hosting her own podcast to being a wife and a boy mom to her sons Parker's adventures in Disneyland, Torie is a woman who's always ready for her next big adventure. She reminds us to be adventurous, bold, brave, and gutsy, not only in the new year, but in the suite. Wow, Torie Happe, take a seat in the suite. It is so great to see you. I cannot wait for this amazing episode. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be sitting here with you. Well, virtually, I guess. One day we'll be in the same room being able to do this together. But for now, I will take a Zoom call with you any time of the week. Super excited to be here.
Oh, I'm so thankful for that. Thank you. We're going to have such a great time. And I thought of you over the weekend. I just came back from Arizona. And if you go to my Instagram Reels, you'll be able to see that I have this massive taco craving. And it was insane. And I literally had to stop. I'm like, okay, let me have tacos within half an hour of landing. I had my tacos. So naturally, I thought of you. And we're going to be talking about taco. We're going to be talking about Taco Tech. But I wanted to get right into it because, man, Torie, you are on a freaking rocket ship. And I want to start with the pin tweet from May 3rd, 2021. It starts out like this: Christmas in May, and and it ends with the rocket takes off. Let's go. So for those 1 or 2% of the population that doesn't know what rocket ship we're talking about, I want you to tell the story.
Yeah. So I decided to join the Onramp Invest team back in May. Tyrone Ross, this co-founder and CEO, we had been chatting, and just one day it kind of led to like, why don't you join the team? It was, again, we talk about the FinTech space being so quick, and I couldn't say no. Like, first of all, how do you say no to Tyrone? You
there is no saying no to Tyrone.
And then if you guys ever have the opportunity to meet Eric Irving, the other co-founder and Chief Innovation Officer over there, he's just amazing as well. Like, there's just no way you could say no. They were building this amazing team. So I took the chance, came over, and it's been a blessing and amazing ever since. So I can't believe it's already been 3 months, but we've accomplished a lot in those 3 months. So I'm really excited.
Well, 3 months flies by when you're on a rocket ship. And literally, I mean, so here you join Onramp Invest, and then we've got 2 rockets into space. Like, it was just great. It was a great analogy. I love what you're doing on Twitter. We're going to be able to talk about some of that social media, but you're head of business development at Onramp. And you just talked about your incredible CEO. Tyrone Ross is iconic. And I love what he says also too, the way that he describes himself. It's such a great, Tyrone's got a way with just communication anyway, but he says that investment advisor and son of superhero parents, Carol and Tyrone Ross Sr. And then, so here we have this juxtaposition of these rockets, Bezos taking it and Branson. Yep. And now literally the Olympics are happening, and your CEO was a 2004 Olympic trials qualifier in track and field for 400 meters. Go Team USA. The 400 was on just last night. I swear to God, I watched that was pretty insane, right? So I can't imagine what it must be like to work with Tyrone Ross in a crypto startup, technology company, and an Olympic year, no less.
Yeah. First of all, Tyrone himself is just an amazing person. We are all blessed that he has come into our space and giving us his voice and what he is doing for our space. He's really changed the direction of what our space is doing, not just with the crypto asset space, but just humanizing our space, right? We have done more giving in our space with Tyrone being here than we ever did before. When he attends conferences, it's always about what can we do to better the city that we're in, not just be there, be in a conference space, hobnob with each other, take each other out for these really expensive dinners. Like, we want to get down into the cities and figure out where can we help. And our space has been really blessed that he's been driving that voice. He also is just a person that genuinely cares about everyone. It doesn't matter who you are or what you do or where you are socioeconomically in the world. Like, he genuinely cares about you. We were in San Diego for the T3 conference, and we went out to dinner with a few people in the space, and we were walking back to the hotel, and I remember being freezing. Now, that doesn't mean a whole lot because I'm always cold, but I remember being really, really cold and walking really, really fast just to get back to the hotel. Like, I wanted to be in my nice warm bed, cozy. And we were walking, and all of a sudden I turn around and Tyrone is not behind us anymore. And I was like, that's weird. He had stopped. There was this homeless woman crossing the street, and he had stopped. She has no shoes on. She's like literally like a tank top and maybe jeans on. And she's pushing in all of her worldly possessions in this cart. And he stops, and you can tell she's actually genuinely afraid. And he just asks her, like, "Are you okay? Do you want my sweatshirt? Can I give you anything?" And she said, "No, thank you." And of course, that's not going to be an answer that he will take lightly. So he literally took the sweatshirt off his back and gave it to this woman without any without a stop, right? So that's Tyrone Tyrone in his element. Tyrone being CEO is one of those people that allows you the space and grace to do what you do best. He's like, I assembled this Avenger-like team to go and do what you guys need to do. I'm not here to micromanage you. I'm not here to tell you what to do. We come together, we make decisions together, and then we go and execute. And I think that's really different. I think a lot of CEOs kind of feel like they need to lead by almost example, but not but making marching orders for everyone. We don't have that. We are very autonomous. We make every decision almost together. And there are some decisions he will tell you straight up he did not agree with while we were building the product out, but he understood why we were doing it. And there's been times where he's like, man, I fought you guys really hard on that, but you guys were really right.
It's so interesting that you say those qualities about Tyrone, because one of the things that I noticed is that Tyrone had those qualities years ago. Yeah. Anybody can go to Tyrone's Twitter, and we're going to put a link to his Twitter, to your Twitter, to Taco Tex, to Johnny's Twitter as well. But here's the thing. He didn't get the CEO role and then become that person.
Right.
He was that person, which put him in line for the CEO. And so many times I think that people kind of have this whole thing backwards. Like, I've got to be in that position before I start to act like that position. And if we just strip away all of our titles and think about the qualities and the things that we bring to the position, I mean, this Avenger-like spirit, I think, is so on point for Onramp. I would love for you also to talk about what the product is, right? We have hear so much about Robinhood, and I want to draw the delineation for people to understand what Onramp Invest is. For the people listening, again, we've got a lot of people, 42 countries, almost 800 cities. Can you talk about the product? And then let's get into Eric also too, the co-founder.
Yeah. So Onramp Invest is bringing crypto assets to the advisory world. We know this is a new crypto space for advisors. We know this is a brand new asset class for them. So we want to be there every step of the way. Our motto is EAT, education, application, and tools. The education piece is really important for us. We want to make sure that advisors and clients are very educated in this space, and we want to be that true north for them. So Caitlin Cook is heading up Onramp Academy. She's been doing a phenomenal job there. So Onramp Academy is a bunch of primers, fact cards, articles. We've partnered with some great partners over there, Gemini, Wisdom Tree, Prime Trust, great partner space over there. You can kind of go, they've been helping us write. Jamie Hopkins, part of Carson Group, has helped us write some compliance pieces. I'm a little biased to this one, but Kyle Hoppe, my husband, of Backstop Compliance, has built out all of the compliance checklists advisors need to be using while they start this adventure in. So once the advisor is feeling comfortable and their clients are feeling comfortable, how do you proceed? Then that's where the application part comes in. We're now able to show the advisor the held away accounts that their clients may be holding in crypto assets. I think Fidelity put something out. It's like a $90 trillion space right now. So there is $90 trillion sitting on the sidelines. Advisors have no idea it's there, right? So how are you, Mrs. Advisor, going to build a portfolio for a client if you don't know everything that they're holding? So with our platform, you're now able to see those held away accounts. You can link those accounts, see what they're holding, and now you have the true definition of what your client has. You can now see their risk score using Riskalyze. You can see 401ks. You can see all of it now, right? So now you have a better picture of what that client holds and how to better serve them. So once you have that, now what happens, right? Our tools department is the ability to now open up an account and actually physically trade for that client. So with our partnerships with Gemini and Prime Trust, the advisor can now open up accounts, fund the account, and then trade. We can trade BTC and ETH currently, and that I'm sure will be changing. But right now we want to, again, keep those guardrails up, have the best coins out there for the advisor and the client. And what's really revolutionary is no one is doing this. No one. You cannot go and trade BTC or ETH in any portfolio for your client right now. So it's bringing that full circle for the client. So now that they've trading for that client, you could now in that account, you can go from BTC to ETH if you wanted, or vice versa. And now again, you have a well-rounded portfolio for your client.
That's really cool. And by BTC and ETH, you're talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum, of course.
Correct.
Just wanted to just make sure that, we're
still. And if I start using jargon, I apologize. But again, I will push it. Caitlin Cook, head of community over at Onramp, has been creating this amazing crypto dictionary. So you guys should all check it out. Our idea is actually to be an iPaaS company. So integrations as a service. We actually don't want the advisor to ever have to come to our platform. We want to integrate into the platform that the advisor is already comfortable with. So right now, yes, the advisor is going to have to come to us because platform is actually 6 weeks old, but our company will be a year old on August 3rd. So we are quickly building up those integrations, but our ultimate goal is to be built into that advisor's workspace. So if you are an Orion user, we want to be integrated in your Orion platform. So you will be opening those accounts through there. We will be pushing the data into their Orion platform. Right now, we currently have that integration with Advizon. You can see a single sign-on through Advizon. We're pushing nightly files out to them. We don't have the opening account trading through them yet, but it's coming. So right now, if you're an Advizon user, you'll be able to do all of that within your own platform. You won't have to go to the Onramp platform. So ultimately, our goal is to never actually have the advisors come to us. We want to be integrated with them. We know that advisors struggle adding more technology. Like there's just so much tech out there. Why keep adding another piece? So we want to just integrate seamlessly into whatever tech stack you're using. You'll be able to get us from your CRM to your portfolio management. We don't care where you get it, whatever platform you're comfortable in, that's where we want to be.
And I think the advisors listening right now that especially are using Orion and Advizon as a financial planning, right? They just acquired probably about a year and a half ago. That was Hussein's company.
Yes.
Exactly. So I think advisors listening right now, you should at least have a conversation about crypto. Here's the thing. We see the same thing in marketing. There are new strategies, new technologies, new themes emerging. And then too many times we're on the sidelines to wait because we think like, oh my God, we're already past the stage of thinking of an idea. We're automatically thinking execution. Our whole thing is to have a discussion about it and just have awareness. So if you are custodied, if you are using Orion, which we love Orion, a big shout out to Orion. I'll be attending Orion's Ascent conference this year. I'll be doing it virtually because mom's having knee surgery. Anyway, but yeah, I love the vision of where the product is going. So really cool idea. And yeah, your husband, Kyle, obviously works at the same company. How is that like? That must be fun.
Well, so he doesn't work at Onramp in general. He owns his own compliance firm called Backstop Compliance. If you guys haven't seen my Twitter, we are a baseball family. I am dragged in to this by blood, I guess. Both my boys are obsessed. So Backstop, of course, I'm sure you guys can all get the reference there. So he actually I drug him into this. We were talking about compliance one day at work and I was like, 747 right over my head. I think we did a State of the Union address for Onramp 2 weeks ago, I think. And Tyrone mentioned compliance, how it's incredibly important, but very, very boring. And I about died because that is how I feel about it. I mean, so he owns his own compliance firm. So I kind of was like, hey, we need some help. Caitlin needs some help doing some great pieces for Onramp Academy. Do you have any idea what we should be doing? And within, 45 minutes, he was like, a laundry list of things that we needed and that advisors should be thinking about. And I was like, cool, talk to Caitlin. So him and Caitlin have just been hammering out those pieces for advisors. So I guess we could say we work together because everyone is virtual now, right? So we're all within the same household. So we fight over the best Wi-Fi connections and the best spot in the house and, all of that great stuff that I think every person in the US and beyond is dealing with as everyone is home. So I do feel like we work together, but different companies, same space. We always joke that the kitchen is our break room. We always seem to be passing each other there for coffee or snacks or whatever the case may be. So yeah, definitely he has his own firm, but we work in the same office building, I guess.
That's really, really cool. Obviously, before the pandemic, you and I have known each other for a few years now. Did the pandemic actually have you moving to a virtual position, intentionally, and staying there?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've gotten that a few times. Actually, before coming to Onramp, I was at a company called Fix Flyer, and they were headquarters in New York, and West Coast girl all the way. I was never going to make that move. So that was actually my first trial, I guess, at being a remote employee. So I was already remote almost 2 years prior to the pandemic hitting. So for me, this day lives in infamy in my brain. Friday the 13th was when my son's school said, "We'll see you in 2 weeks after spring break." And we all know what happened. So when Friday the 13th rolled around for everyone else, Monday morning, other than being a new teacher, and I still joke, I'm adding that to my LinkedIn account. Terrible first grade teacher. Monday morning, it was just another typical day because I was already had the groove down of being at home. Now, again, there's other factors going in, right? We have no idea what's happening. Kids are home. So yeah, it wasn't new, but it was definitely a new headspace for, I think for everyone. But yeah, it's different, right? It's kind of weird not being with everyone, being really collaborative in the same space. We've gotten pretty creative. I think there's been a few times where we've been working on a project and we don't really hang the phone up or the meeting up. So it's just like all of us staring at each other like we're working together.
Yeah, exactly. We kind of use our Zoom as like an open office. Like we'll come in
just kind of like
at
pop
10
in.
and I'll be like, okay, I'm leaving. This person's kind of coming in. And the other thing we do is we've been doing meeting rooms as well too. And it's being like, okay, we've got 2 team members over here collabing on this project. I think it's great. Like I get it. Zoom fatigue. I get it. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm loving the aspect of people collabing and working together and feeling as if they're part of the same team.
Yeah, we've used we kind of do these like coffee, like meet the team kind of thing, especially for Onramp. Most of us are pretty new, and we are literally all over. So it's been kind of nice just like grabbing 10, 15 minutes with a teammate, doing like one-on-ones with each other. And then, like I said, like we leave meetings on, we use Slack. I know Tyrone bashes Slack all the time. I'm obsessed with it. It's like my favorite. I don't know. I think one of my friends one time said that it's like playing whack-a-mole with it, with like the meetings and all that stuff. But I really enjoy Slack. I think it helps keep everyone connected at some point. I like the ability to just like either call someone or hop on a video without having to like send a link and like all that jazzy stuff. But so being remote first, I think brings on a whole new meaning and dynamic to a team, especially when you are brand new, like you're literally a brand new firm. And your product hasn't even launched yet.
So exciting. And you talked a little bit about Eric Irvin, your COO, and he's the co-founder as well. And here was a question from our team, right? Is that they were very intrigued to find out from you what was the catalyst, because so many people during the pandemic and even beyond right now are deciding, should I make a move? Should I stay or should I go?
I don't know. There was something about this opportunity that I couldn't pass up. I had that gut feeling. This was a team that I wanted to be with. Eric and Tyrone are just 2 amazing humans on this planet. And I just was like, why not? Why not now? I'm young enough. Like if this doesn't work out, it'll be fine. Right. My family is really supportive. They know I'm very driven, like that. They just know, like, they're just like,
what a surprise, Torie.
Shock,
spoiler
right?
alert. She's driven.
They just know that I'm going to go and do it. Right. Like, so I don't know if you're contemplating it, like, I have nothing against pro-con lists. Kyle will laugh at me. I have them for literally everything in my life. Make that pro-con list. But at the end of the day, like, you're betting on yourself. So why not? You're going to make yourself successful. So just take the leap, take the plunge. It's not scary. I think the business world has changed so much in the last 18 months alone that there is that flexibility. If you're afraid that you're going to be a workaholic, well, I think that's ingrained in you. If you're a workaholic now, you're going to be a workaholic at your new job. Set boundaries with yourself. Take that laptop with you and go explore the world and work at the same time. That's what's so great about what happened in the last 18 months. We're all not stuck where we need to be. You don't have to be the same person you were 18 months ago. You can now be whoever you want. You can open up, the space has opened up so much. Companies that weren't super excited about remote first are now biggest cheerleaders of it, because they're getting great talent that they never would have gotten before. I like adventure. I like pushing the boundaries. So it might be uncomfortable for you, but just go and do it.
I love that. That is so, so inspiring. I love like new leaps and new bold leaps of faith, right? Just listening to your point, to your gut. And the last time that you and I saw each other physically, which I'm excited about, right? That is coming like all conferences.
Or I'll be like, by the end of November, we'll be like, crap, we all want them to be virtual again. But
oh my
the excitement
God,
is real. I'm really excited to see people.
Me
in
too.
Person.
What a love fest it is just going to be, right? We are going to be.
Have you seen like people talking about like they're going to color code badges and bands and stuff? And it was like red is like, don't come near me, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I need 7. Everyone is getting a hug. I don't care. I don't care what color your badge is.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'll be giving you the best hug. You and your co-host, Johnny Sanguis from 3 Crowns Copywriting and Marketing. Okay. You guys are really freaking crushing it. You've got a podcast, Taco Tech. I feel so fortunate to have been a guest. I feel so fortunate to have played a role there.
Yeah. So we, like Tina was saying, we were all at T3 in San Diego. Little did we know that was going to be the last time we were all together. And if it was, I feel like we would have not all survived, or we all would have just bunked down in the conference room and never left. But yeah, so we were at T3. Johnny and I were sitting in this, it was like this weird picture window thing at at the hotel that we were all at. And him and I, we both have younger kids. Mine is 8 and he's got a gaggle of them ranging in age. And we are children at heart. If you guys ever meet either one of us, you will understand that we take nothing seriously and we try to make the best of every situation. And so we're sitting in this window and I was talking about how my son is like obsessed with building forts. Like that is, we still to this day build forts all the time. And his kids are too. And the way that this window backed into this staircase was like the perfect place to build a fort. And Tina is jamming by as she always does at a conference because she's always on the go. And she stops dead in her tracks and was like, I have to take a picture. You guys are scheming up something really great. And I was like, I looked at Johnny. I'm like, don't tell her we're talking forts. And so she took this picture and she's like, I just know like this is a moment that you got to be starting a podcast, something. And so like we kind of like Johnny and I kind of looked at each other, like laughed and went along our merry way. So after the conference, like I would say like 3 or 4 days later, I text Johnny. I was like, all right, Tina's in my head. What if we do this? And he's like, yeah, he's like, I was thinking the same thing, but I didn't know how to tell you. And I was like, okay, we're going to do it. I had to travel back to the home office for my former company, Fix Fire. So I went to New York. I told him like, let's do it when I get back. Well, little did we know that the world was going to literally end. Well, not end, but stop.
Yeah.
So COVID started and we were all just like super, just not distraught, but like upset and stressed. And Johnny and I we started talking about the vision of this. And it was like, first of all, it'll be a great way that we can all still talk to our friends, but like be creative about it, right? Both of us needed a creative outlet. Johnny is incredible at marketing and content management, like all of it. And so he was just like, I just want something fun to do that's not work. Because I think all of us became big workaholics those first few weeks because, I mean, what else do you do when you're stuck inside all day, right? So we launched Taco Tech. The idea was have these great conversations with our friends that are disrupting the space and bring a fun spin to it. We are taco enthusiasts. Every time we're in San Diego, we eat up at Puestos. We just thought, hey, like how can we bring a lighthearted kind of conversation to the space and then talk about some things that we all enjoy, tacos. So we've had some really great guests on the podcast. We've had some interesting taco takes. We are 18 months old about. We feel like big kids now. We've hired like an editor, like it's whole 9 yards out of this, just like, hey, let's see where this goes kind of a thing. So we love it. We actually were invited by Riskalyze. Dan Bolton reached out to us from Riskalyze for the summit, asking if we would do like be the head podcasters there. We've got a whole social media set up over at Summit this year. So we're really excited to be there. I think we'll be seeing you there. So we're excited. We never dreamed that this is what it was going to become. We actually took a break. We kind of take breaks in the summer, especially with our kids being home. And people were like, where are you guys? Why haven't we had a new episode? We're like, oh gosh, we were literally just, enjoying a few weeks of summer. And like I said, we had to find an editor. So we never dreamed that it was going to get this big. I am thankful for Johnny for putting up with me. Thankful for him to, he took on the burden of being the editor and all that jazzy stuff. I can't do that stuff. But yeah, it's crazy. I never imagined it being where it is today.
I love it. I love it. I even think that Joel at the last T3, wasn't there a taco food truck at one point? There was something.
Yes.
Right? There was some. Exactly. Here's what I see. The willingness again to act bold. We've been trying to get so many of our clients to say, please, this goes back years ago. Please start a podcast and start talking about the very things that give you life, give you energy, and that you could just do every single day. If you had to do it every single day for the next 2 years, what would you talk about and what would you do? And so what I see from both of you is that you've had amazing guests, and a big shout out to Riskalyze and Dan Bolton. Gosh, we're huge Bolton fans. Yeah. The Dan kind, not the Michael Bolton kind, the Dan kind, right? And the Fearless Investing Summit has been a fantastic conference year after year. And I think for advisors listening, for people listening that want to take their firms to the next level, right? Subscribe to Taco Tech Podcast. They're on all the platforms. There's a video version. There's an audio version. Listen to the various FinTech products and solutions that you may be considering. Start to now open your mind. There's 5 months left of 2021. Spoiler alert, 5 months left. How are you going to play it? How are you going to double down on your tech stack? If you're not going to do it today, you've got to vet that product and start having conversations and getting demos. Listen to the podcast, subscribe, and start taking advantage of these opportunities to increase your efficiency and to go, go, go. Along those lines, again, as people that are considering FinTech right now, what would you say? What's your favorite FinTech? Well, I probably know the answer to that, and I'm great with that. Let's talk about FinTech for a minute, because I want to leave our listeners with some sort of executable strategy. Listen to Torie, pen in hand, go.
So, obviously, I think being in the crypto asset space, I think it's really important. So, of course, I'm going to say Onramp is one of my top FinTech choices. The other one I think is important, and advisors might not agree, but there's a company out of San Diego called ClickUp. It is an all-in-one solution for you. It could be your CRM, your note-taking, your calls, everything. It's incredible what they are doing with this piece of technology. They've integrated with Loom so you can shoot videos inside of it, post them, send your emails out of it. So if you don't have an all-in-one solution, I think ClickUp is where you need to be. It's not the typical FinTech, like it's not a finance-based company. It's everyone can come and use this. We use it at Onramp as our kind of our bug reporting systems. We replaced it with Asana. We took Asana out and we plugged ClickUp in. But we're really, really noticing that we can use it for everything. Notes, wow. Like I said, videos, ticket tracking. I use it as like a Trello board. So it's like how I track my to-do list. It's incredible. The tool is really great. So those would be my two takes. I would definitely, again, don't sleep on the crypto asset space. Just start with the education. Education is huge. Log into Onramp Academy, check that out, because it's not going to be the first or the last time you hear those clients come in. So I would definitely, if I'm a betting woman, which I'm not, I'd rather, shop. I'm going to say you're going to have at least 2 clients come into your office by the end of the year asking about crypto assets, whether they heard it from Elon Musk or from their kids. The conversations are out there. So you want to be in front of that before you're flat-footed.
It would be really interesting to see when I started my positions in crypto, but I drank the Kool-Aid a while ago. We have to understand. And if you look at the big, huge firms right now, I think even the Fed has like a crypto person there, right?
They do. And we would appreciate that person. They say that they're starting committees and that sort of thing. And they keep kicking that can down the road. I don't think they want to necessarily say out loud that this is here to stay, but I'll say it. It's here to stay. So start doing your job, please. We'd appreciate it.
Hey listeners, we want to thank our friends over at Redtail CRM for helping us to make all things possible here in the suite. Redtail Technology is the industry leader in software for CRM, document imaging, and email solutions for financial advisors. Visit redtailtechnology.com to check them out.
You yourself have a really cool personal brand. You utilize social. I think that's been a really cool way for us to maintain our connection, our relationships with other people, especially during the pandemic. We would be doing it anyway, but I feel like we doubled down on social. And you have this awesome style. Like I feel, yes, Johnny's very creative, but I see a creativity in you, Torie. I love the pictures of you and your husband and your son. What do you love right now in social? How have you been so bullish on social, where we've been trying to drag advisors kicking and screaming to social?
Yeah. I think a lot of times I appreciate the community that I've created on social. Again, I am a millennial, right? So I've pretty much grown up with the Facebooks and I mean, I guess we can even start with MySpace, right? So I've had social media in my life. I would say even in my teens, it was there, right? Maybe not as big as it is now. It's not as big, it wasn't as big as a force, but it was brand new. So I think the idea that community builds are happening on social media is huge. There are dark sides of social media. I get that. But there's also the ability to you get to create what's going on in your social media. And again, I know a lot of people create this beautiful vision and world that they're perfect, right? I try to use my social media as it's not perfect. My life is not perfect. My family is not perfect. My job isn't perfect. Nothing is perfect. I think the biggest picture or, conversation I ever had was we took my son, he was 3 years old. And if you guys ever had a 3-year-old, you know how they are. Anyone that says the terrible twos is the worst are liars because their kids never made it to 3. It's a blessing that mine has lived past 3. And we took him to Disneyland. My parents came. My husband was actually traveling for work. So it was really funny. Being on vacation with my parents at Disneyland, brought back just, again, when I was little, 3-year-olds, potty training, whatever. And Disneyland, I don't know if you guys haven't been, Disneyland has potties that are kid sizes. I mean, how cool. Like I thought this.
So cool. Why didn't they have that for my kids, Torie?
Exactly.
I feel like
this is awesome. He's going to love it. And he could they made the stalls, everything is toddler size. So he felt like an adult, right? And so we were going to a restaurant and I was like, we need to go to the bathroom. And he absolutely threw a fit about having to use the kid toilet. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And he is, red in the face, bawling, crying, and he sits down. We are literally on Main Street of Disneyland, and he is having this temper tantrum. And so I'm just standing there waiting for him to, decide that he's going to be done with this. And a cast member walks up to me and she's like, oh my gosh, what is happening? Is he okay? I said, being 3 at Disneyland is really hard for him today. And she just kind of laughs and she's like, we can't have anyone sad. And she's giving me stickers and lollipops. I said, I really appreciate, again, the Disney experience. Yeah. I was like, I appreciate you being so wonderful, but he's just being 3 and he needs to stop. And so all of these parents are walking past us and they're like, what in the, why would this mom just let her kids scream like this? Right. And I was like, because he's 3 and this is ridiculous. So then a cast member comes up to me. He's like, I understand what you're doing, but the trolley with the horse is coming and he's got to move. And I was like, okay. So I'm like, Parker, you need to move over. And of course, Rage Monster comes out. So this delightful cast member picks my kid up and puts him in the gutter of Main Street. And he is sitting there still bawling, crying. And I snap a picture and I say, not everything is happiness at the House of Mouse or something to that nature. And people were like, oh my goodness, like you look at everyone's social medias, if they ever go to Disneyland, everything is so magical. But this was my experience with my kid. Like my kid cried because Mickey looked at them weird, or like the Dumbo ride was too slow. Like, and all these stories that started coming out about taking your kid to Disneyland or Disney World, just the realism of it all. Right. And so I think that that's really like my goal, is to make sure that people know that not everyone is perfect. You don't have to post the perfect picture. I love black and white. I just, that's my aesthetic, is just being very like everything, not everything in the world is black and white, but everything that is beautiful can be very black and white. So I post a lot of stuff in black and white. You can scroll through mostly Twitter these days. I have pictures of me put together. I have pictures of me not put together. I remember posting a picture of my dog. I have a Labrador. He thinks he's a lap dog. Climbed into my lap and literally is like like trying to be a baby. And I have wet hair, no makeup on, what I typically look like. Right. And I remember someone posted something that's like, oh my God, I can't believe you'd post a photo like that. And I was like, of reality? Because I don't know what world you live in. And I don't know if you and but I am not put together 99% of the time. And being that we've gone nowhere for a year, like I joked with a friend yesterday, I was like, I have to decide on what upscale sweatshirt I'm going to wear today. Like those are my choices at this point. So I feel like social media, I just want to bring that realism to people. I want them to know, like, just because Kim Kardashian looks perfect 24/7, she's not. Like, just be real with yourself. So I think that's what I love about social media. I think advisors can really benefit from being their true authentic selves. Their clientele are getting younger and younger, right? My generation is coming into our highest net earning years. We are the ones that are your clients. You need to start thinking about us now.
Absolutely. Underscore, exclamation, yes. Exclamation.
So you advisors need to be thinking about our generation now, not later. Just because you are our advisor for our parents doesn't mean you're going to keep that money when our parents die. I mean, that sounds bad, right? When they die.
Right.
If you aren't already talking to me, if you aren't already trying to have a conversation with me, I'm going to go find an advisor that I connect with better. And you know where I'm going to be looking? Through my networks on my social media. And if you're not it, I have no ties to you. I have nothing. Just because mom and dad used you doesn't mean I have to use you. For goodness sakes, we can use Robinhood. I know it sounds bad, but the ability to have my portfolio in my hand and not actually have to talk to anyone could appeal to a lot of people. So if you're not thinking about my generation now, you've already lost. And I think social media plays a huge part in that, because we have had social media. We've had the ability to have everything in our hand at such a young age that if you're not making it easy and accessible to my portfolios, my accounts, they're going to pick up and leave.
So for the advisor that just heard that brilliant social rant, which I'm doing the happy dance right now in my head, and their question is this: okay, great. Where do I start? Could you give us what would be the 3 top social media platforms in order, right? In priority order, because we can't be all things to all people.
Yeah.
Where would they start? What would be your 1, 2, and 3?
I think that's really hard. I think advisors need to figure out where they feel comfortable. I think, and it's hard too, right? Because we've got compliance going on. We've got all this stuff that kind of limits the advisor's ability to use social media. I think Jess Boast, an advisor out in Georgia, she actually posts some of the funniest stuff about her compliance people and what they won't let her do. So I know advisors are battling that, but I also know you, the advisor, able to have a personal account. You can't give advice on it. You can't do any of that nature. And don't take my word for it, because I don't know compliance. But
Kyle does.
But Kyle does.
Kyle Happe does, everyone. We'll have a link in the show notes for him.
But if you, again, just open up whatever platform you like. If you like Facebook, great. If you like Instagram, cool. I personally love Twitter. I love the fast pace of it. Might not be for you, but if I were to say that you, the advisor, are going to start a personal account, I would start with those three: Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, and just go from there. Twitter, you can just create the account, follow a couple of people you really like, and just sit in the background for a while, and then, start joining the conversations. Instagram, if you, again, follow a few folks that you like, post a photo once a month. Like, it doesn't have to be this all the time type of thing, unless you want it to be, right? So I would say those would be my top ones, but it doesn't have to be your top ones. If you really love the LinkedIn platform, use that. You can post photos, you can post videos. I think they even have a LinkedIn Live, kind of like a Twitter Live feature now. So again, it's just wherever you are feeling comfortable, just go and do it.
That's really great advice. And there's another burning question for you, Torie.
Yeah.
It's the one that I've been meaning to ask you the most.
Yeah.
In your opinion, what is the perfect taco?
Oh, man. This is a loaded question.
I know it is. I know it's coming out of left field. Hey, it's a curveball, but that baseball thing in the Happe family.
Absolutely. Yep.
We got to play to that.
Yep. I hear you. So I am a huge carne asada fan. That if there's a carne asada taco on the menu, I will take it. So I would say carne asada is my top choice. And I really don't care what form, to be honest. You want to give corn, flour, whatever, I'll eat it. In college, we had carne asada fries. So
oh gosh. Haven't seen those. Now you're
We're in San Diego, Tina.
I was about to say you're in
place.
California.
Yes.
Yeah, you're in San Diego. I'm there.
I will also say, living in California, that we have the California burrito, which is carne asada, French fries, and all the good fixings inside a burrito. So that I think will be like those top two choices. But I also loved a rolled taco with some guac. But like I said, on Taco Tech, we've had a wide range of things. I will say I have a laundry list of things I won't eat. We've had people talk about goat tacos.
Oh, no. I think I saw you post on that. That's a no. That's a no deal for me.
We've had a very heated conversation, a few episodes about Taco Bell. Not real. Someone brought up Del Taco once. I was like, what is wrong with people? Like, I need to save everyone from these terrible taco choices. But
don't go to a taco chain, right?
No. So if I had to pick a taco to eat the rest of my life, carne asada would be it.
By the way, you know what I'm having for lunch today now, right? Because I've been
absolutely.
intermittent fasting from yesterday. And it was like, yes, Tina, of all the people to have on the show this morning
so much
during an intermittent fast, I'm like salivating. I'm already thinking. I had a cactus taco the first time, again, and it was in Arizona. And by the way, you'll be proud of me, Torie. Did not go to the chain taco place.
Excellent.
Pulled into a shopping center, and my taco radar was so on point, right? It was like, nailed it. First shopping center, the place with the tacos. Again, everybody's there. Like, you could see like all the locals were there. And I was like, yep, Tina, you nailed it. Exactly. Yep. But the cactus taco, like, I was like, cactus doesn't have much flavor. It's what you put into it. So it's very neutral. But first time I ever had cactus before. Before we get to our last question, a lot of women here in the suite are so passionate about what they're doing in life. They're passionate about their work. Again, work doesn't feel, nobody's ever come here in the suite and been like, I'm really stuck. I feel like miserable about my job. No. It's the polar opposite. They have made real difficult choices the way that you too have straddled your career. But nearly every single woman here in the suite does some sort of philanthropic work. And so you are, I wanted to call that out, right? I wanted to call out your volunteerism, and you're also president of Active 2030 Club of Greater Roseville, South Placer County. So I wondered if you can just kind of talk about that. What is that?
Yeah, so it kind of sounds old and staunchy, but it's kind of like a Rotary for younger, up until you're 40. What really brought me to that group was my husband and I had decided to move back home to Sacramento. We had no friends. And I think, I am a super social person. So it was really hard for me to not have some friends to go and hang out with. But we also wanted to find a way to start giving back to our community. We just didn't want to join like a softball team or whatever. So we kind of looked at this, and their drive is bettering the community for the children that live there.
Wow.
And so for us, my husband and I had wonderful childhood memories growing up where we are. We wanted to make sure that everyone in our community was having that same effect. Again, we live in a great place, socioeconomically wise. Again, not a whole lot is happening, but you don't understand what's happening. You see everything at surface level. You don't actually see what's going on below the level. And there's actually, again, really high homeless rates in kids and teens in our neighborhoods because whatever was happening, but they still attend the high school where money is not an option for children, right? So we wanted to make sure that every kid in our community felt that they had a space. And what I really love about it is that not only do we take kids back to school shopping, so school's starting here.
Wow.
So our school's actually here starting like a week, like the beginning of August. Is wild. So we take kids back to school shopping so that, again, they're walking in. Yes, maybe they live in a shelter of some nature, but when they walk into their high school, they look like everyone else.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
They have the
Huge.
They have the needs that they need. Their needs are being met.
Wow.
They've got all the supplies that they need. They've got clothes to last them at least 6 months for the school year. One of my favorite things, we work with the Placer County Food Bank during Thanksgiving. We make these Thanksgiving boxes for the families in the community. Not only are we involved, but our kids are involved. So our kids are learning that it's important to give back. Not everyone has what we have, right? And so my son loves it. He loves running up and down the aisles, putting in everything for the boxes. And then we actually get to deliver those boxes to the families in our community. And it's kind of eye-opening for him because he lives a very sheltered life. I will say it out loud. He lives a very sheltered, gifted life. He doesn't realize that the kid 5 doors down doesn't have the same life he does. It looks like they have the same life, but inside those walls is very, very different. So I really love that. I love that we can get our kids involved. I love the fact that my son is learning very early on that not everything is given to you. You need to earn it. And that if you have more than what you need, that you need to be giving that away. We are blessed. He's just one of those kids that does really feel like he knows he has it really great and wants to make sure that everyone else has it really great. That for me is important. I don't want him to ever think that he's better than someone. I don't ever want him to feel like just because the kid next to him doesn't have the $500 Lego set like he does, doesn't mean that he's not as important. So that's what I really love about the group. Again, it's all about our community, and every dollar that we do raise stays within our community. It doesn't go outside of our community, which I think is important too, right?
Another big thing.
Yeah. So I don't know. Again, I grew up, my husband and I grew up very blessed. Our parents worked really, really hard to be where they were. So we got to benefit from that. So it's our duty to kind of uplift our community and help the other families and kids around us. Because if we want to keep the community great, we got to put effort back into it.
That's extraordinary parenting. I have to give you and your husband a great deal of credit there to just instill that awareness in your son Parker at such an early age. I love the way that you're able to actually meet the people that you're giving. Too many times I've felt like if you make a purchase at like a CVS or the grocery store and they're like, hey, want to donate $1? And I'm like, no, actually, I want to give my dollar to somebody. I want to see where my money is going and how it's being used rather than just arbitrarily giving you kind of control over it. And I love what I'm hearing from you, that this organization is keeping the money in the community and you're able to interact and meet the people who it's benefiting. What an incredible thing to take those kids school shopping. I could cry over hearing that story. It's really amazing. It's no surprise then, Torie, that you wound up at Onramp Invest and that Tyrone Ross is your CEO. Like that's a Tyrone connection right there.
Yeah. And I think, again, we all kind of come in with our baggage and we all come in with different views on life. And that's what's so great about Onramp is that even though we all have our own baggage, we all come together for one purpose, and it's to better our community and to better our space. If you ask any person at Onramp, they'll probably give you some sort of the same verbiage, but we really truly are. We want to make sure that we are making a change in our space, and it's not just a disruption in technology. We want to be making a difference and showing our space that giving should be number one.
Torie, I want people to know how to get in touch with you over at Onramp. I also want them to be able to give us a direction for the best way for them to get in touch with you and Johnny and listen to Taco Tech podcasts and subscribe over there.
Yeah, so we are all over social media. Taco Tech at Twitter is at Taco Techs. So follow us there. We have Spotify for Taco Tech, so just search for it. Apple Podcasts, we're there as well. For myself, I am at Torie Happe on Twitter. Same handle on Instagram, LinkedIn, I'm there. Don't laugh at my profile. It is in a work in progress. So yes, if you want to kind of, again, just Google my name at Torie Happe, TorieHappe. You'll be able to find me. If you want to connect at Onramp, Torie at onrampinvest.com is my email. We're, again, really open company. Drop me an email if you have any questions. We'd be happy to answer.
Great. And our last question this year is getting fantastic book recommendations, which has been real helpful for me personally too. I'd love for you to add another book to the shelf, Torie Happe.
So I'm coming with an oldie but a goodie. Speaking of Dan Bolton, so him and I, when we worked together at Riskalyze, we always kind of passed books back and forth. And it was always these books about technology firms. And one of our favorites was called Bad Blood. I don't know if you've read it yet, but it's about the rise and fall of the company Theranos.
Oh, sure. Oh, I've seen.
Tina.
Oh my God, I saw her. Oh my God, I saw her. I saw the documentary on Amazon.
So now there's going to be a movie about it. She's going. I believe her trial starts here soon. You need this book in your life, everyone. But just the diabolicalness of her, like the whole thing. So I read it first, and I said, Dan, you need to read this, and then we have to talk. He read it in like 2 days. And I think I've reread it like 3 or 4 times. There's a podcast out. I can't for the life of me remember the podcast, but if you Google it, there's a whole podcast series about it. Like I said, her trial is starting. Apparently she got pregnant and then was able to delay her trial. The whole
oh gosh.
It is a soap opera affair, and I love it. So that will be, I think everyone needs to read. Again, if you guys just need a book that you can't put down, this is it. Yeah,
her first name's Elizabeth, right?
Yes.
What was her last name? I can't remember her last name. She was even a Stanford grad. She had exactly. Unbelievable. That is going to be the fact that they're making that into a movie. Oh my God, that's going to be such a sizzling.
I think it's Jennifer Lawrence that's playing her in the movie. If I'm not mistaken. And she was obsessed with how the CEO of Apple, how he portrayed himself. So there's a photo, and you'll see it. She only wears the black turtleneck, and she's holding the Theranos. It was like a pill or something.
Yeah,
she's holding it in her hand, and that is the movie poster of Jennifer Lawrence. I'm telling you, you guys need this in your life. You just need a book that just
takes you away in a totally different stratosphere, puts you on a rocket ship, right, Torie?
And you will you'll turn the page and you're like, oh my goodness. Every page has that oh my goodness moment, and you're just like, first of all, how is someone so smart? And second of all, how are you so diabolical?
Yeah. Wow. That's so interesting. Jennifer Lawrence is the perfect person. Wow, this is so much fun. I could go on for a whole nother hour, 2 hours, half the day. We appreciate your time so much. We want to thank Kyle, and we want to thank Parker as well too for letting us have you so bright and early. Again, you've been on West Coast time. Congratulations to you and Johnny and all your success, to Tyrone and Eric and at Onramp Invest, and you being head of BD over there, business development. So wishing wishing you all good things, Torie Happe. Can't wait to see you in person.
Thank you.
You're listening to In the Suite, a podcast that shares amazing stories of women in business in the financial services and the wealth management industry. Our producers are Tina Powell and Kevin Hirshhorn. Our editor-at-large is Kevin Hirshhorn. Our content writers are Sarah Smirker, Tina Powell, and Olivia Gonzalez. Our research and technical assistant is Sarah Smirker. In the Suite podcast is sponsored by C-Suite Social Media, a high-performance marketing agency for RIAs and FinTech companies in the wealth management industry. You can visit csuitesocialmedia.com to learn more. And thank you so much for listening and subscribing. We've got 924 cities and 50 countries of listeners as of this today. We are so grateful to you, especially for those 5-star reviews. This podcast was inspired by you and created for women who want to lead boldly. So please let us know how you enjoyed this episode with the amazing Torie Happe, and share your thoughts on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram, #InTheSuite. You can connect with Torie on LinkedIn and Twitter at Torie Happe, TorieHappe, and visit her at onrampinvest.com. And always, if you would like to share the name of a rock star woman in financial services we should consider interviewing in 2022, please send it to me at tina@inthesuitepodcast.com and we will consider it. Again, thank you so much for listening, subscribing. Have a happy new year and best wishes to all of you in the suite.